Hi everyone, welcome to Chandler's channel. I'm Tracy and I'm your host, and this is your weekly reading for July 8th to 14th. And Whitehawk will be on board for that in just a couple of minutes. But as always, I like to touch back on the previous week, and there is a lot in the previous week. There's 2 days left in the week while I tape this. Whitehawk had spoken of I felt a wash of sadness coming over me, so that entailed that there would be sadness in the week. And I have to tell you, big thing in Ottawa. Our beloved Ottawa Senators hockey captain Daniel Alfredson made the move after 17 years being in Ottawa to the Detroit Red Wings. Well, I tell you, talk about shock, talk about the wash of sadness that just came over Ottawa itself. If you were to visit Ottawa, and you're very sensitive to energy, you'd think like, what is wrong with everybody here? They're so sad, or even the secondary emotion of sadness, which is anger. You might find a lot of people who are angry because they, underneath all that anger, they really are sad, that he laughed. They can't believe that he laughed. So, boy, Whitehawk was right on the money on that one. And then he spoke of that I will be a bloomin'. So, and it's possible I probably did bloom in some aspects of my life that just aren't vivid to me, or it could have happened behind the scenes. Someone's going to be knocking on my door sometime soon, or people started liking me more, and they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends. So that revelation hasn't revealed itself yet. He also spoke of prosperity and prosperousness. Well, I have to say for Daniel Alfredson, who's from Ottawa, it was definitely a week of prosperity and prosperousness. I hope it was a week of prosperity and prosperousness for you, whether it be in your garden that it bloomed immensely, whether in your friendships with people you gained new friends, or maybe it is related to money. Prosperity is just not about money. It's about the value of our relationships, our family relationships, our friends, who in turn, are our family. I always say, this is what I always do. I always go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary and I look it up to see what it means. And I have to tell you, he is always on the money with the words that he uses. And certainly they're not always words that I would use in my everyday life, although I do learn some doozies and some new ones working with him. So those were 1, 2, 3 things. And then I want to touch back on our July reading, which was, he said that that it would be an intense month. And he spoke to us about anger. Mind your words and so on and so forth, because you can never get back those words or those actions. Wow. Lots of anger around. Lots. I hear it. Or not hear it. Well, I did hear it, but I see it on Twitter feeds. I seen it in Facebook statuses. I heard it via other people. My husband came home and said, "You can't believe what I seen." I seen this one car stops on the soft shoulder and it's got his blinker going, and the guy gets out of the car and starts walking in his car yelling obscenities, and then the girl gets behind him in another car and gets out of her car and starts screaming and yelling at each other, and I road rage, and he's like, "No, boyfriend, girlfriend," and I'm like, wow, that was in rush hour traffic, And it has been really, really hot here, and that will spark that kind of stuff, whether you have air conditioning or not. People get crabby in hot, humid weather. So there was that. Where else did I see it? Twitter. Oh, you know what? I seen it in nature. You will see it in nature and stuff too. I seen birds fighting, and oftentimes, like when I pay attention to the birds. I love the birds. They're one of my big ways of intuiting what's coming into my life or what's happening. And when I see birds fighting, I go, oh, where is this going to incur, or where is this going to happen in my life? And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be the one fighting, but I might hear about friends or family that are fighting. And then I also use cards. Oh, actually, I have them right here, so I can show them to you. But not that I want to promote her. I did use these fairy cards that I use, and there's this one card that comes up, says "Stand your ground," and I hate that card because it always means like there's going to be some sort of a fight, or you're going to have to stand your ground, and nobody really likes to have to stand their ground, because that's just not joyful, is it? So Whitehawk was right on the money with all that stuff, and that like I said, his value's not in his fortune telling. Like, he is so rich in wisdom and teachings and healings. So I hope that's not what you're here for, but I will go get him, and I will see what he has to say for the week ahead. Indeed, he says, what will come of this week, considering what we've been through this past week, he says. Indeed, he says, there is so much sadness, he says, in the air, in your location, Tracy, he says. It is so unbelievable how one person, he says, could stir up the emotions of a nation, he says. Is it not? Everybody's like, yeah, and they're sad, and they're shaking their head. He says, well, my children, I will not give you homework on this week. I will not teach you a lesson on this week. But I will tell you this. Never put all your eggs, he says, in one basket. For surely you will be crushed at crunch time. That is all I will say to you, children. As for your week, well, for many, he says, the heat will continue. We did speak of drought in the past, he says. When JC visited us, he says. But for many, the heat is just not necessarily heat from the earth, as much as it is heat in the moment, heat of the moment. So be forewarned, children. There will be much heat around still. And to be forewarned is to be forearmed, children. And I'm just feeling so much sadness right now. It's just, how can I say that? You can't help but feel it. It is a primary emotion of this week. It's going to be there in full. Indeed, Whitehawk says. For you cannot have sadness, he says, without emotion. And the emotion will be coming from those around you, those above you, those below you. For you see, children, there is much change occurring in the world right now. Much unrest occurring in the world right now. For there are those who are moving forward, those who are moving backward, and those, he says, who are just plain stuck. So what is happening, he says, is you have those who are stuck and those who are moving backwards, not wanting those who are moving forwards to go. And so therefore it is creating this emotion, this conflict of emotion, of fear, of delight for those moving forward, but most indeed fear for those who are stuck and moving backward. So you will always get that. He says exposition. Yes, you will always get that. Whitehawk says, always. But for those of you moving forward, you must move forward. Regardless, he says, of the cause and effect. You must move forward. And even in the people who are moving forward, there is sadness. For they know the people they are leaving behind. For they know that which they are leaving behind. That it is upsetting for those who are being left behind. Yes, it is. Whitehawk says. And JC wants us to know, Jesus wants us to know, that he is here, that he is overseeing it all. Be at peace, little ones. And he throws us a kiss. Be at peace, little ones. We will get through it together as a nation. But it must be done, Jesus says. It must be done. And then I see like a family of ducks, as they're moving forward in the water. And that nice, when they move forward in the water and you see, it's like a V, right? And then you see the water go out like this. So it's like a bigger V. The ripples. Yes. I'm just checking in to see if it's Jesus or Whitehawk who's saying this. It is I, Tracy. And it's Jesus. He says, indeed, it is I, he says, who is speaking now. He says, as you see that family of duck, he says, moving through the water, you do see the ripple effect. And we are waiting for those ripples to come ashore, to make it to shore, to help us through these difficult times ahead. So I need those of you who are moving forward, and you know who you are, to move forward in faith, in hope, in knowing that I am there to catch you if you fall. But you will not fall. But you needed to know that. And then it's being shown like those who do acrobatics and they're swinging in the air, and then there's that safety net underneath them. That's what he's showing me. He's like, he's the safety net. He's there for you. Yes, I am. Always have been. Always will be. So he's honoring us, and he says, safe travels to those of you moving forward this week and for many moons ahead. God bless, little one. And that is coming from Jesus and Whitehawk. God bless. Kisses. Well, there you have it. Interesting week ahead. Interesting. Many moons means months, right? Because there's one moon a month, and then there's the blue moon. It's where there's two moons in a month, right? And then there's strawberry moons and harvest moons. Anyways, moons is a month. So that is your weekly reading. I wish everyone well moving forward, and those who are going backward and those who are stuck. Look to the skies, look to the heavens to guide you, and you will be well. Well, our next reading is our topic of the week reading, and it is the law of attraction. So please look for that one, and instead of having to look for it, you can subscribe because it's free, and you'll know when I've posted a video. And share it on your Facebook saying, hey, this is a really cool teaching. I found it really interesting. I'd like to share it with you, Put it on Twitter. Comment. You know what? Even if you just want to say, hey, Tracy, love the earrings, or just say hi. Say hi to me. I'm very lonely. I want to hear from you. So what would I say? Subscribe, share, comment, and we will see you next time. Take care. I'm Tracy for a Chandler's channel. I'm supposed to say God bless, right? So God bless.